We keep an eye on the RevPAR and the sales for that hotel and for the area. That's the most important to us because we do a lot of turnaround properties, so the bottom line needs a lot of adjustment. We want to see where the sales are going to be or where we think they can go.
I think the most important metrics these days for hotel lending are cap rates, price per key, and for us as cash flow lenders, debt yield, because we look upon the debt yield as a lender cap rate.
I think growth in demand to me is very important, how that happens on a market by market basis, because supply is increasing, but really the strength of the market is really determined by hotel demand. So I look at that very closely in each market and sort of how it's increasing either above supply, below supply, but to me that's a very important statistic.
I think we've been pretty fortunate to see steady cap rates over the last several years alongside a healthy growth in RevPAR. I do think that we're going to see, in particularly high barriers to entry markets, that the cap rates will remain low. However, those that are low barriers to entry, we're going to probably see steady increases to cap rates in those areas.
I think the most important industry metric is supply and demand and the RevPAR that's associated with that supply and demand. You know, the importance in the market is how many demand generators there are, the location of the property to be able to capture that demand, and what price people will pay, and that will determine the value of the property and the amount of financing that it can support.
The most meaningful metric in the hotel industry, I would say, is cost per key. At this point, with rising real estate valuations, I would say that people are getting into transactions that, given the price of the land or price of the building, makes it very difficult for them to make a profit, especially to the extent that the worst case scenario or close to a worst case scenario would happen for your business. So cost per key is a big indicator for us and hopefully a big indicator for you.
The most meaningful is probably today, I would say it's new supply in the pipeline, if we consider that a metric, from submarket to submarket, because I think one of our main concern as a hotel lender is the potential new supply coming into a market over the next 12 to 36 months.
Well, there's so many to choose from in terms of hotel metrics. We like to look at them all, and a lot of them have importance, but I think in today's market where the general consensus is that we're near probably the peak of the cycle in terms of hotel performance, at least in a lot of markets. What we're really focused in on is new supply being added to the market versus the amount of rooms that are already in the market. So in those markets where the percentages of new supply are higher than others, we're being more cautionary. But on a national basis, the data indicates that we're in a relatively good position. So we're looking closely at it, but we still feel that there's a lot of good opportunities to lend on good quality hotels out there.
I think there's a couple components that are really important to a lender. It's the ADR and the RevPAR that we've seen in the market. The other thing would be room supply. How many more rooms are planning on coming in the market, where they're positioned. 65% of the entire pipeline is based on two segments right now, the upper mid-scale and the upscale, which the developers and the customers love. But there's always a lid for every pot based on the positioning and the opportunity in the market.